Welcome everyone to another installment of CatchyCartoons Animals of the Alphabet series. This time around, we'll be drawing this happy hedgehog, which of course means today's letter is H. So are you ready to get started? Let's begin the rough by drawing a circular shape for the head, like usual. But, as I want this little hedgehog to be looking up, we'll draw the eye line on an angle. Place an oval eye on the eye line. We'll start his snout with the lower jaw. Yep, another schnorfely snout, just like in my chubby pig video. Then we'll angle another line down his face and arc the line out, following the eye line for the bridge of the snout. As we arc the line around the end, we've created a cute little overbite and a happy hedgehog smile. We'll then complete the look by adding a button nose. Now let's give this guy a punky hairstyle, or is it more rockabilly? I actually think he may have an Elvis vibe about him. Either way, arc the line up and out sharply. Then gently curve the line as we take it over the top of his head and straight down the back. We'll finish the head with a couple of simple shapes for his ear. Let's give our hedgehog a rather chubby body by starting the line with a subtle curve for his throat. We'll then take the line down the body at roughly the same angle as his jaw. Flatten the line out through his tummy, arc the line back up along his backside, and we'll flatten the line out again through his upper back. I think this guy would look really cute with short little legs and tiny front feet. Take note of how I contrast the straight but angled lines to the elbow and down to his foot against the curved line up and around the shoulder area, creating an interesting form and avoiding those dreaded parallel lines that I've spoken about many times before. For the back foot, we'll take the line across the bottom of his body, arc the line around the toes, then angle it back down to the starting point. Come back along that line now, arc around the knee and continue up through the thigh to create a short, chubby leg. Let's quickly rough in the other back foot and add just a hint of fur at the knee. Indicate his toes, then we'll rough in some tufts of fur just below the elbows. Now we'll draw a color separation line along his body. Continue the color separation through to create a widow's peak at the hairline. Oh, that reminds me of my vampire video from way back. He had a widow's peak too. Another color separation line around the snout and onto the first tie-down stage, where we'll dig deeper into the drawing as we sculpt the shapes and forms. But first, let's quickly color in his eye to indicate its brightness, and then see how he instantly comes to life, already making your drawing much more fun to work on. Although the rough is in solid shape, I'm still going to scratch and search for the right line as I work on his back end. Then we'll create a smoother transition from the body into the head by adding a curve at the nape of his neck. As we move on to his underside now, don't be afraid to draw through other elements of your drawing, such as here with the legs, as you can imagine how disconnected your line might become if you were stopping and starting it several times. And anyway, we're still exploring at this stage and want to stay loose. But let's tighten up the line a touch as we tie down the hedgehog's facial elements, as we need those to be just right. And then we'll just lay down more committed lines for the ear. His front legs are looking a little thin, particularly this screen right leg, so we'll fatten them up a bit. And oh dear, all these tufts of fur are just getting a little messy, so I will definitely have some work to do during the second tie-down stage. Let's make the back feet a bit bigger, and then try to add some definition to the tufts on the other front leg and on his back leg. But I'm not at all sure that that has been successful. Finally, we'll just bang in the toes. Now I'm thinking of adjusting the color separation line. What do you think? But on second thought, no, I think I'll just stick to the simpler and more graphic shape of the ruff. Add a little tone to his button nose and onto the second tie-down stage. But time for a break now. Hopefully everything is coming along nicely with your hedgehog, but just in case you see some problem areas, now is the perfect time to get things right before we move on. Keep an especially close eye on his proportions. Is he the right shape? Then, once you're ready, I hope you'll take a moment to hit the like button, subscribe, and please leave me a comment. We'll start the second tie-down stage now, adding a little polish and applying a darker and more committed line. We'll carefully commit to the eye, the nose, and the snout. Let's loosen up a bit as we work our way down the underside, up and around his backside, along his back, all the way to the very edge of his stylish hairdo. And we'll just tighten up the line as we move down his face through to the nose. Okay, now it's time to tackle those messy legs and feet. I especially need to clarify all those tufts of fur with darker and sharper lines. We'll add more definition to his toes. Commit to the color separation lines, the original ones, that is. Now, let's try to get a better feel for this guy by scratching in some quills on the top of his head. We'll indicate some more quills through his body and just a hint by his bottom. Now, obviously, these lines are simply suggestions of quills, so keep an eye out later in the video to see how I handle them in the finished drawing. Let's finish this tie-down stage by adding some tone to the body. Now, you won't be seeing any of these lines if you go on to finish your drawing, but believe it or not, they really do help you connect with your subject, almost like you're getting to know this little hedgehog by better understanding his form and substance. Just try it, you'll see. So, cleanup is the final stage of the drawing process. This is where we apply a clean and final line. For this hedgehog, we're going to lay down a fairly standard line that has a variation of thicks and thins. Let's start with the eye, and we'll add a little highlight for a bit of sparkle. We'll apply a medium to thinnish line to add some delicacy through the facial area. His body should have the thickest line, especially near the back end, to suggest some weight as he sits with his bottom firmly plopped on the ground. We'll apply a mid-sized line for the front legs and a thick line for the back foot. And you know what? I am just going to get rid of that troublesome fur at the upper legs altogether, and I'm pausing the playback now to explain why. I decided to make this change because you can see how the fur was making the drawing look way too messy. And I feel that a cleaner and simpler approach is more in keeping with the simple and graphic nature of this design. In fact, when I was looking at reference photos of hedgehogs, and I cannot stress enough, by the way, that you should always look at reference before you start a drawing, and frankly I should have been mentioning this more in my other videos too. Anyway, the first thing that I saw in all those photos was ultimately just a tidy ball of fluff and quills. So this drawing today simply reflects what I saw, but in a graphic and stylized way. Okay, now let's get back to our hedgehog. We'll apply a thin line for his ear and lay down a very thin line for the color separation lines. Clean up his little toes as the final touch and move on to the color stage. And today, let's have some fun with his colors. We'll use a nice creamy yellow for his face and underside, a grey-green for his silly hairstyle, back and ears. We'll apply darker greens for the inside of his ear, his eye and his nose, a soft pink for his snout, legs and feet. And to indicate the tips of his quills, simply sketch in some random little lines, using the creamy yellow once again. Now, this might take a while, as I understand that hedgehogs have thousands of quills. So, I'll see you all in a little bit. Are you done yet? Well, congratulations! Your happy hedgehog drawing is now complete. And don't worry, no one's counting those quills. For another animal of the alphabet, why not have a look at this video? Thanks so much for watching today. I think this was a fun one, don't you? Hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.